So just recently I've actually been on the lookout for a second tripod, for one that's going to be small and lightweight and I can kind of fit in a bag to take hiking with me. And just recently K&F got in contact and have been kind enough to send me this one. So it's obviously pretty tiny, but let's not talk about it here. Let's get out, use it, and talk about it out there. So I've been out all morning filming with this little tripod, and so far I have been pleasantly surprised. I'm really impressed with kind of how lightweight and how compact it actually is. I mean, every time I pick it up, I'm actually kind of shocked by how light it is. But obviously with any tripod of this size that is so compact, there are some compromises, and this does have a few. But we'll talk about those in a bit. And for now, let's talk about some specs. One of the most important specs with a lightweight tripod obviously is the weight. And this comes in at just 2.2 pounds or just over 1 kilo, which is impressively light. So for me, if I'm going on a hike and I think I might need a tripod, it's going to be this tripod that makes its way into my bag. Even though the tripod is so lightweight, it can actually still hold a payload of about 17.5 pounds or 8 kilograms, which for something so small is really impressive. That's enough to hold a normal DSLR or a mirrorless camera with probably quite a large 70 to 200mm lens on it. And the ball head is pretty solid, but whether I would be using that much weight on the tripod when it's at full extension, I'm not so sure. But in its defense, that does go for most tripods. They become more unstable as they get to their full height. As for the ball head itself, you can see along the bottom here we have our degree markers. And the rotation is nice and smooth and locks off really well with this twist lock on the side. As for the main section of the ball head, we have this really easy to use twist lock here on the side. We can twist that, and again we are getting a pretty smooth rotation and tilt from the ball head with a notch on the side here if you do need to go all the way down into portrait mode on the tripod. And again, that locks into place pretty easily and consistently just with a bit of a twist here without too much pressure being applied. And you've got a really solid base. As for materials, the tripod is made out of a carbon fibre and the legs come in 5 sections, which means they collapse really small and can go actually really tall. At full extension, the tripod's almost 60 inches and at its lowest is about 18. So again, a lot of versatility there. As well as the legs being made up of 5 different sections, you also have the center column that does have 2 extendable ranges. So you can slide the whole center column up, and then it also extends again even higher. And that's how you reach the full height of the tripod. So to get a full extension on this tripod, you can easily undo all 4 of the twist locks kind of in one go and then pull the legs out. They take a few more twists to do up than you might find on some more expensive tripods, but they do still lock in pretty tight once they are locked. I think at full leg extension, the tripod is certainly more than usable at this. I'd probably be hanging my bag onto that hook there just to give it a bit more stability at this height. And then you can, like mentioned before, slide up this center column up and then even one more. And that gets you the full height of 60 inches. So I probably wouldn't be using it all that often at full extension, especially for longer exposures, because it does have some wobble to it. I'd be using at least a 10-second timer when I have a camera on there, because by the time you've pressed the shutter, it's going to take a little bit of time for that wobble to disappear as well. But you know, that full extension could come in useful if you're just trying to do self-portraits or group shots and you're using faster shutter speeds anyway. One other great feature of this tripod as well is that you can actually unscrew one of these legs here and then create a monopod. So you unscrew that leg, and then we can also unscrew the hook from the bottom of the center column here, slide the center column out entirely, and then we screw the 2 together, and you've got yourself a nice, really lightweight, really compact monopod, which can come in super useful if you're trying to track kind of wildlife or anything like that, or sports with a telephoto lens, and then you don't have to hold the whole weight. So a nice little extra bonus feature. I think it's really going to be at these lower heights where this tripod really excels. You've got quite a nice stable platform here, especially with the center column all the way down. However, what you can also do as well with the center column further up is actually pull these legs all the way out so they're almost flat. And that's going to give you a really stable base to work off of from there. And there are 3 angles that those legs can go as well. The flattest, and then they've also got this in-between angle. And there, that's going to get you a little bit more stability at that lower height. What can also be done as well, as I briefly mentioned before, if you want to use this center column inverted, it's easy enough to do so. You just undo this hook from the very bottom, and then the center column is going to pull out entirely from the tripod. You can switch that around, pop that back in this way, tighten that up, and then you're going to have lots of options of getting your camera really, really close to the ground, which is great for any of those images where there might be running water or you want to get under into a puddle for a bit of reflection as well. So that's going to come in super useful, I think. And packed away, this thing is even smaller. To pack it away, you just want to make sure the center column is fully extended, and then you can flip the legs in on itself just by lifting up these metal tabs here and then flipping them all the way around, and it packs down to this tiny little size that fits in pretty much any bag. And to be honest, it's not actually far off fitting inside my pocket. So like I mentioned, there are those compromises, but I think this tripod is definitely going to come in useful for me. And I mean, how am I going to use it? In all honesty, I'm probably not going to put a heavy telephoto lens on this tripod at full extension and expect to get a sharp 30-second exposure. However, I am going to use this tripod a lot when I'm going on multi-day hikes or day trips up the mountains when I don't want to carry my big heavy tripod. And I think it is more than stable enough for long exposures, using it at lower extensions and lower angles, and just not using this center column. But you'll find that with a lot of tripods anyway, that the center column extension adds some height, but you do lose a bit of stability. And one of the best things about this tripod is, given that it's carbon fiber, really lightweight and compact, is it's still really budget friendly. It retails for about 190 Canadian dollars, but at the moment it is on sale. And in the description below, there is a further 10% off if you do want to go and check out anything from K&F Concept. And I think at that price, it really is worth considering this tripod, especially if you are someone that's going to be out in the mountains or out hiking, or want to be taking a small tripod with you when you head off on holiday and you need to pop it into your suitcase. I know for me, this will become a staple in my camera bag on those longer day trips. But like I said, if you want to check anything out from K&F, they do have a bunch of different filters, tripods, all sorts of stuff, and all at reasonable prices. There is a link in the description below. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you on the next one.